Today, we're tackling perimenopause and mental health, and our source is this YouTube video called Perimenopause Triggered My Mental Health Breakdown by Melanie Oyadina Smith. We're really going to unpack Melanie's story and hopefully uncover some of those early warning signs that people often miss. So by the end, hopefully we'll have a better sense of what to watch out for and why getting help early on is so important.
Absolutely, early intervention can make such a difference. Melanie decided to share the details of her story as a caution to other women entering perimenopause, to make sure they understand, on one hand, the importance of getting help, and as she says very clearly, she doesn't want anyone else to experience feeling like they're going crazy with no explanation.
What I found so interesting is that she comes from a background steeped in alternative therapy. She talks about meditation, massage, and hypnotherapy.
Wow, the whole gamut, you name it. She did it. She even worked as a life coach. So you'd think she'd be fully equipped to deal with any emotional challenge.
I know, but in the video, she talks about how a full-blown mental health crisis is just in a completely different league compared to just dealing with everyday stress and ups and downs. They are different beasts altogether. And even with all her experience with self-healing, she was completely caught off guard.
I can imagine, especially how severe her breakdown actually became. And it underscores a point that I think we need to emphasize more, that we often misunderstand. During perimenopause, many women like Melanie just aren't aware of how deeply it can impact mental health. It's so much more than that. We're talking about potential shifts in brain chemistry due to these fluctuating hormones like estrogen and progesterone. It's like a whole internal earthquake going on, and that lack of awareness can be pretty dangerous because it leads a lot of women to just dismiss those early warning signs. And for Melanie, that was insomnia. She just couldn't sleep at all, but she brushed it off as stress at the time. I think we've all been there. Not realizing it could be connected to those hormonal changes makes you think how many of us are doing that right now.
Misinterpreting those early signs for her wasn't just about tossing and turning. She went from being a sound sleeper to these drastic shifts in her sleep pattern. And looking back, she sees it as this huge missed opportunity to address what was happening beneath the surface.
And it's important to remember all this was happening during a really difficult year for her. She lost both her father and stepfather within a few months of each other.
That's so much to handle.
It is. That unprocessed grief can be incredibly taxing on anyone's mental well-being.
So it sounds like she was hit with this double whammy emotional toll of grief, and then on top of that, the hormonal shifts of perimenopause, like a perfect storm. And she even admitted that she was basically running from her grief, keeping super busy with work and travel, avoiding it to avoid facing those emotions head-on.
Although understandable, it often backfires because grief needs to be processed and worked through. And by trying to outrun it, she was just piling more stress onto her already overloaded nervous system. It's like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. And eventually, it all came crashing down. That's when the panic attacks started, and things escalated dramatically.
She even thought she was having epileptic seizures at first. The intensity of those symptoms really shows how perimenopause can manifest these unexpected and frightening ways.
It feels like your body is betraying you, and you have no clue why. She ended up in the emergency room multiple times, convinced something was seriously wrong. So when the doctors diagnosed her with anxiety and panic attacks, she was like, wait, what?
Yeah, she'd experienced anxiety and mild panic attacks before, but this was different. Then she stumbled upon information about perimenopause, by chance almost, and starts connecting the dots that there are very real biological factors at play.
It's a reminder that anxiety can present in so many different forms, some far more intense and physically debilitating than we might imagine. And for women going through perimenopause, those hormonal fluctuations can amplify those experiences. This is exactly why we need more awareness around perimenopause and its impact on mental health. We need to help women understand that what they're going through isn't all in their head. Next, she talked about the challenges she faced in actually seeking help. Not just finding the right medical professional, but also overcoming her own resistance to traditional medicine.
Melanie's very upfront about the fact that she used to be pretty skeptical of doctors. She preferred alternative therapies and resisted traditional medicine. But her breakdown forced her to confront those beliefs and acknowledge that sometimes you just need professional help.
We've got all the tools. We should be able to handle it. But the reality is, sometimes mental health challenges are so overwhelming that you need support.
However, Navigating the healthcare system, especially for mental health, can be a challenge. It can be its own hurdle, so you have to be willing to advocate for yourself. You can't be shy about persistently asking questions and seeking second opinions if you need to. Keep searching until you find a healthcare provider who really gets it, understands your unique needs when it comes to perimenopause. Finding a really knowledgeable doctor is incredibly important because they can help you figure out what's a normal fluctuation and what needs attention.
Her biggest piece of advice is don't suffer in silence. If something's off, trust your gut. Reach out and ask for help, whether it's a friend, a therapist, or a doctor.
Mental health challenges can impact anyone. Doesn't matter your background or your coping mechanisms. Sometimes asking for help is the strongest thing you can do.
Finding the help you need might take some trial and error. It usually takes time, patience, and self-compassion to embrace the ups and downs.
Even after going through everything, she still emphasizes that healing is possible. It's been 8 years since her breakdown, and she's living proof that recovery is possible.
By understanding perimenopause and mental health, you can navigate this chapter with confidence, with well-being. So until next time, keep taking care of yourselves.